Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm LJ if you're new to my channel. So today's video is going to be a smoky eyeshadow tutorial for beginners. So I'm going to be creating this smoky eye and giving you guys a very detailed step-to-step guide on how to achieve this type of smoky eye. So this smoky eye is with like a shimmer eyeshadow. I know smoky eyes can vary. You can use smoky eyes for all matte shades, but in this smoky eye, I'm creating it with a shimmer shade just because I feel like these are like one of the most common smoky eyes. So yeah, I'll be going into the details on how to create this eyeshadow look, as well as using the Violet Voss eyeshadow palette. This is the Olive You Forever eyeshadow palette. You can use any eyeshadow palette for this look and you can totally change up the colors, but the black shade, okay? You need that black eyeshadow shade for the smokiness. Yeah, I'll just be creating this look and going step to step on how to create this type of smoky eye for beginners. So if you're interested, keep on watching. But if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and join the LJ family. Also hit the bell so you're always notified when you upload. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. Welcome to a YouTube.
Alright, so I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible because it is a beginner-friendly tutorial and I want you guys to be able to recreate it. I'm only going to be using 4 eyeshadows in today's video. So first thing, before starting to apply any type of eyeshadow on my eyes, I like to go ahead and prime my eyes. So what I did was I used the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I really love this concealer for eyeshadow. It's perfect. So I applied the concealer, but I can see a little bit of creasing on my eyes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of that creasing with this brush. And you want to do this before applying any eyeshadow because you don't want to apply the eyeshadow on top of the creasing. So today for eyeshadow, I'm gonna use the Violet Voss Olive You Forever eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. It has a lot of beautiful eyeshadow shades and I love the fact that it has shadows for like a soft glam makeup look. I can get a lot of use out of this palette. So when you're doing a smoky eyeshadow, it all depends on the type of smoky eye you're doing. So today I'm doing a smoky eye with a shimmer eyeshadow, so it's not like a completely black smoky eye. What I like to do is I always like to start on my crease. The reason why is because I like to warm up my crease so that all the other eyeshadows that I'm gonna apply blend really well and all blend together. So I like to start with a warm tone shade. The first shade that I'm gonna use is called Endless Desire, and what I'm doing is I'm picking up this eyeshadow with this brush. This is the Morphe M506 brush, and I like to use this brush for my crease area. So I have a very detailed eyeshadow tutorial on which kind of brushes are important for which eye shape. So today I'm going to be using a lot of these M506 brushes. However, if you have a different eye shape, if you have more space around your eyes, the different brushes will vary. So I have a very detailed video on which brushes to use for eyeshadow, but I'm going to go in with this kind of brush because this is ideal for people with hooded eyes or people with just generally smaller eyelids. So what I'm doing is I'm packing this right on my crease area and blending it out. So with this eyeshadow shade, you don't have to specifically apply it right on your crease. You want to blend it out completely all over your crease area because like I mentioned, you're just warming up your eyelids so that it kind of has like that warm tone to it. Alright, so once you have that shadow applied, I'm going to go in with another clean M506 brush. Every time I'm using different shades, I like to go in with clean brushes just because I feel like it kind of gives the true pigment of the eyeshadow, and you mixing it up kind of makes it look like a muddy mess. So you want to be careful and make sure that you're using clean brushes. So I'm going to use the M506 brush. I'm going to dip into this dark brown shade called Charmed. So what I'm doing is I'm going darker and darker. So I'm starting with the lightest shade that I'm going to use all over my eyes, except for the inner corner shade. But on my crease area, I'm starting with the light shade and then I'm moving to a dark brown shade and then I'm gonna go in with a black shade. So for smoky eyeshadow looks, you want to go darker and darker as you go. So you don't want to start with the darkest shade first. I'm dusting off the excess off the brush. And with this shadow, I want to focus this on the outer portion. Because we're going in with the shimmer shade right in the middle, I'm going to place this shade right on the outer portion. The reason why you want to place that dark shade on the outer portion is because it kind of creates that smoky effect. So I'm just taking this shade and I'm literally packing it on the outer V of my eye. So the outer V of my eye is right here and right here. So I'm packing that shade right on there. I'm not blending it out yet. And when you have small eyelids, it's always best to pack eyeshadow before blending because you don't have much eyelid space to blend too much. And then as usual, I'm gonna go in with that first brush that I used to blend out that first shade. I'm gonna dip into that shade. As you guys can see, I kind of have a little bit of that brown shadow right there, and it really shouldn't be around that area. I'm just gonna use this shade and just kind of like blend around it so that everything looks nice and blended and you don't see anything harsh that shows too much, you know what I mean? So I'm just using that shade and blending it out. I'm also bringing this towards my brow bone area so it looks nice and faded. And with smoky eyeshadow shades, you want to make sure that your eyeshadow looks nicely faded. So I like to go back in with that brown shade because sometimes when you blend it out, it does kind of get rid of that pigment. So I'm just going to go back in and add a little bit of that pigment. All right, so next I'm gonna bring this brown shade a little bit towards the inner portion, just a little bit. You don't want to put it too much because you want it to look faded as it's coming in. So sometimes you would have to lift up your eyebrows to really get on that crease area. And you just want to use whatever is left on the brush. You don't want to go in with more eyeshadow just because it'll kind of give off too much pigment. Alright, so next we're gonna move on to the black shade, okay? So smoky eyes usually go from a really light shade to like a super dark shade until you hit that black shade. For the black eyeshadow shade, I like to use an even smaller brush because we're not placing the black eyeshadow shade all over our crease area, okay? We want to be very specific, especially if you have small eyelids. You have to be very neat and very keen because we don't have much space to play around. For this, I'm gonna use the Morphe M507 brush. This brush is smaller than the M506 brush, so it's going to be very precise to getting the black eyeshadow on there. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with the shade Infinity, which is that black shadow, and I'm just going to place that right on the outer portion of my eyelid. So I'm placing this right here. I'm not bringing it all the way up towards where the brown eyeshadow shade is. The reason why it's important to pack it slowly is because you want to fade it out after, but you still want a little bit of that brown eyeshadow to show. So focusing only like, I would say a quarter of the eyelid area, I'm just placing that right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that brush that I used for that brown shade. I'm going to dip back into the shade Charmed, which is the brown shade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke it out. So I'm going to basically like blend it out. So I'm just going back and forth slowly and focusing only on the outer portion. We're not really blending it towards the inner portion right now. We're just focusing on the outer portion. And then whatever is left on the brush, you want to just slowly fade that and bring that towards the inner portion of the eye. Like I did earlier when I placed the brown shade, it kind of faded off a little bit when you blend it out. So you want to go back on and kind of pack it so that the pigmentation of the shadow shows. I don't really think a lot of eyeshadow tutorials show you going back in with the shadow again. So you have to go back and forth with the shadows to make sure that the pigmentation shows enough and it's blended enough. So it's okay if you go back in with the shadow and pack it up and blend it out again until you get that right pigmentation. I feel like that's the best way to apply eyeshadow. It does take a longer time, but with practice, it gets better. So with the tip and whatever is left on this brush, I like to bring this a little bit on the inner portion. You guys see see how small and precise this brush is to really get on the crease area, and I don't like placing too much on the crease area because we want it to look smoky, but we are also going with a shimmer eyeshadow shade. And I'm gonna go back in with that first shade called Endless Desires, and what I'm doing is I'm focusing this right on the edges of that black shadow so that everything looks nice and blended and seamless. Alright, so once you have that black eyeshadow there and it's already blended, you want to move on to the next eyeshadow shade. So the next eyeshadow shade is going to be the shimmer shade, and I'm using the shade called Olive Me, which is an olive metallic shade. And going in with the Morphe M456 brush, I'm picking up this eyeshadow, and I like using this brush for shimmer eyeshadow on the eyelids because I feel like it goes on much smoother than a flat brush. I just like to kind of just like place that shadow right on the lid area. And I also like to bring this eyeshadow up past my crease area just because I feel like that's the best way to apply shimmer eyeshadow. It gets the eyeshadow pigment to actually show on your eyes. Hey guys, so when I was editing the video, I realized that I didn't explain what the crease is and where you should place the eyeshadow. So the crease area is right here, right where this line is. So when you're applying the eyeshadow, you want to make sure that you're applying it above the crease. So somewhere around right here is where you should stop. You don't want to stop right here because it's not going to show when you open up your eyes. This is for people with hooded eyes. You want the eyeshadow to be above, which is right here, because it gives you a little bit more space for the shimmer eyeshadow to show. And then after applying that eyeshadow, I like to go back in with that black eyeshadow shade and kind of mend these two shadows together right where they meet so that they look blended around that area. All right, so now that we have the shimmer eyeshadow applied on both eyes, I'm going to move on to the inner portion. For 100% of eye makeup looks, I always use a lighter shade for the inner portion just because it kind of gives that pop into the eyeshadow look. You don't necessarily have to go in with an inner portion shade, but I like to do it because I feel like it gives my eyes that pop. So for the inner portion shade, I'm going to use the shade Major Spotlight, and I'm using the Morphe M431 brush. It's just like a small bullet brush, and I'm gonna place that shade right on the inner portion, right where my tear duct is. And what I like to do is I like to blend both the eyelid shade and the shimmer shade together so that it looks transitioned. So just packing it on the tear duct and bringing it up. Alright, so next I'm going to work on my under eyes. So for smoky eyeshadow looks, I like to line my under eyes. So I'm going to use this QV eyeliner. This is the Dragon Liner Wax Pencil. And I'm going to place this on my waterline area to smoke it out. I feel like this kind of closes in your eye and kind of makes it look a little bit smoky. Alright, so once I've placed that eyeliner right below my eyes, I'm going to go back in with the shade Charmed. So basically for my under eye, I like to do the opposite of what I did on my eyelid area. So go in with the black under my eye, and then go in with the brown, and then go in with that lighter warm tone brown shade right underneath that. So it's kind of like you're doing the same thing you did for your crease area, but you're just kind of doing it in reverse. So I'm going to use the Morphe M213 brush to apply this shadow. So I'm going back in with that brown shade called Charmed, and I'm just gonna smoke that right below this shade. Alright, once I apply that shade, I'm gonna go back in with Endless Desire. Alright, so that is it for this smoky eye. I feel like this type of eyeshadow look is more so for people who kind of have an idea on how to apply eyeshadow. So you want to try doing like a smoky eyeshadow look. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some lashes on, put on some mascara, finish off my makeup look, and I'll be back with the final look. Okay, so that is it for this video. This is the final look of the eyeshadow. I love smoky eyeshadows, and I wanted to make this video just for those people who were struggling struggling or just wanted to learn how to do a smoky eye, this is like one of my favorite smoky eyes with like a shimmer eyeshadow shade and the black smoked out. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to leave me a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and join the LJ family. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. You better subscribe, got it on lock, yeah. Got it on lock, yeah. We need more likes, more views, yeah. You can leave a comment too. Welcome to our YouTube. Welcome to our YouTube.